Let's get started. We are here. League play is upon us. Saturday and Sunday of this week, which is what, the 5th and 6th, I believe. I don't know my dates anymore. Yeah, the 5th and 6th of October, 2019. We got Rlcs Season 8 coming in. So let's do, oh, the logo's in front of it. Let's do some league play predictions for the entirety of league play. Like, I'm not going to do every single game because we're going to do that weekly. But I'm just going to go over like who I think is going to place where. I think for now, we're going to do this as just league play, not necessarily world championship spots. Because, I don't know, it just doesn't, whatever. We'll probably talk about that in a little bit. Predictions or guesses, more like guesses, because this offseason's been weird. I feel like we've had a lot of time between events. RLCS is starting extremely late. There's not a ton of like community stuff going on. Like there was the Astro tournament that just happened the other day that we got to see half of it. But besides that, like I don't know. And it feels like teams just show up during RLCS a little bit differently anyway than those tournaments. Because at this point, like these teams are so big that a lot of these guys just like don't care as much going into a 5K tournament. So we'll see how it goes. Let's get into it. Let's start with North America. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. We'll have to figure out the records. I'm going to put the team and then what their record's going to be. But our records might not be exactly even at first, and I might have to change some stuff because I haven't done the math yet on it. So, starting off in North America, I got to put the Birds and the Bees in last place. They could show up. They had, one community tournament where they did pretty well. They have some RLCS wins, but it's a whole different story nowadays, when you go into the RLCS. I'm going to see if caps matter here. Yeah, it does. Okay. Going into RLCS might be a little bit of a different story, but I think it's going to be at least a competitive season from the Birds. Like, lately, we've had teams being pretty miserable in the RLCS. I don't expect that from the Birds. But someone has to come in last, right? So I'm going to go 1-6 for the Birds. I think they'll pull off a win somewhere, but I think they will finish in 8th place to go into that promotion tournament. 7th place. Now this is when. So I feel like Birds, I think will be 8th, but obviously some minor upsets could happen, and they could easily move up out of that side. Because obviously, like if you have one good week when you play 2 games, then you're looking okay. Like Birds. I guess most of their double weeks actually have one of the big 3, so it's probably unlikely, but it's possible. Like 1 week, they have Cloud9 in game number 1, and then Rogue, week 3. Like, that could be their week. Who knows? But we're going Birds 1-6. At this point, so before the Astro tournament, I probably had Ghost down here. I think I'm going to keep Ghost down here. Ghost will be. Hard part is I think they might get some tiebreakers, but that's okay. We'll put this way anyway. Ghost at 2-5. I think Ghost is like they showed up at Astro. I'm not sure how much like credibility we'll have on Astro with like Turbo just flying over in a lawn chair on Wi-Fi, but they beat Cloud9 anyway. But we all know Cloud9 a lot of times they just don't care a lot for these tournaments until the RLCS. I don't know. I think it's going to be incredibly close between them, Space Station, and Rogue, probably. But I think I'm going to put Ghost at 2-5, and I'll put them 7th. Moving on. We'll go Space Station. We'll put them also at 2-5, but I think they'll win the tiebreakers, which kind of goes against the whole idea of Ghost, because Ghost always goes to Game 5. But we're going to do it anyway, because why not? So Ghost will also... Space Station will go 2-5. I feel like they haven't found their form yet. They still could, but... Seems like they try and play incredibly aggressive with Arsenal, but I think they just can't get enough opportunities. Like, I watched a little bit of the Astro tournament from his perspective when the stream went down, and he was on the other side of the field, like, most of the time, and they just couldn't get things going there. Like, obviously, they went to 5 against Cloud9, which is a good result. Again, I don't know how much the Astro tournament's going to matter going into the RLCS, but I think they'll also go 2-5. Now, Rogue will be my 5th spot for now. I don't know what's their like initials. Is it RGE? I think it's RGE. We're gonna put them at 2-5 also. Now let's see if this all adds up. Rogue, just I don't know, man. They just haven't impressed me all that much this offseason. But again, they show up when it matters. But even if that is RLCS Week 5, when they finally show up, but I don't know. Like I'm gonna put Rogue 2-5. I just don't. I don't know. I don't see him doing too much here yet. Peeps, we're gonna go 4-3. Maybe yeah. I'd say 4-3 is pretty good. Now I have to figure out exactly how many more games I need for the big three. Peeps 4-3. Like I think they're not gonna have like obviously their same DreamHack performance, but I do think they're a pretty solid team. We'll see if they can carry that momentum. Like I think one week, man, one bad week by any of these guys, or one good week by any of these guys in the bottom 5 could change everything, right? But we're gonna go Peeps 4-3. Like I like what they're doing. The most important thing is, like, sure, there is no RLCS equivalent in terms of nerves normally, and obviously it's a little bit weird because we do league play online, but if you go into a DreamHack on a day 3 as like a huge underdog versus all 3 of your opponents and you take them all down, Mouse Sports, Vitality, and G2, like credit to you, man. Like I'm going to say probably week 1 nerves won't be there as much compared to maybe some other teams with new players. So Peeps, 4-3. Week number 1, they get Ghost and they get Rogue. That is an absolutely huge week for the Peeps. Like, they're starting off with a trend center of, like, are you going to finish top 4 or are you going to finish bottom 2? Because if they go 0-2, then people are going to be like, oh, Peeps might be 0-2. So we'll see how they play in their first week. Again, week 1 nerves are there, but because of DreamHack, I'm like, all right, Peeps, I see you. You show up when it matters, at least for now, but we'll see. Now we get into the top 3. Now, all right, so let's see what we're at right now. We're at -5, -8, -11, -14, -13. So that would mean we need 2 6-1s and a 5-2, if I did my math correctly. Or 7-0 and 2 5-2s, which is possible. Okay. I'm going to go Energy goes for the 7-0 again. Going for Energy 7-0. Even when Turbo just flies over, he's playing in a lawn chair. They still pull off some incredible big wins over Cloud9. They started off slow, obviously, versus Ghost, but like I think when they're situated, as long as Justin isn't too bored during league play, I think they'll be just fine. So I think Energy will go for another 7-0 season. And now here's where it gets a little hairy, where we could either have someone go 4-3 and someone go 5-2, I think would work. But, or 2 5-2s and 1 6-1. I don't know. I'm going to go that this is going to break the streak. And we're going to go a 6-1 for Cloud9. And G2 will go 5-2. And I think that adds up. Guess we only need what? We need 28, so we need, just 28 games on the right or the left side here. So do the quick math. Oh, we have 29. Okay, so we messed this up somewhere. Hold on. Let's figure this out. And then we'll talk about the big 3 here. And I think, like, honestly, like any prediction with these big 3 in any form would probably be just fine. Okay, so let's see. 7 plus 5 is plus 12, plus 15, plus 16, 13, 10, 7, 2. All right, so we got to flip one game somewhere. All right, we'll drop Cloud9 down to 5-2 as well. I think that would probably be good. And then I think that works out. So 12, 17, 21, 23, 25, 27, 28. There you go. Okay. That works out. I like it. So one thing I've been seeing is a lot of people think like Cloud9 is going to fall off a cliff for some reason. I honestly don't understand why. Like, they're the most successful DreamHack team on days 1 and 2, which are the teams where like you should beat. Cloud9 beats them all. The only time they lost this entire season was against Savage, now Barcelona. on day 2. That was the only result where they lost. Now, obviously, that is on LAN, and Cloud9 has always been a better LAN team. But if Cloud9 can just get into that mindset of, like, this is LAN, like, we have to play like we're playing on LAN because they need to, you know, it's going to be a closer season, a lot of people project, then Cloud9 should be fine. Like, I don't expect them to drop too many series. G2, with their high-powered offense, I love it. And I think it's going to work most of the time on, like, the lesser teams. I could see them having one off week somewhere where they have an off week where it's not clicking and they either lose by a huge upset or they lose when they play one of the big 3. Because, like, you could coin toss probably the big three here. I'd say, like, Energy has a slight advantage over the other two. Even though G2 just beat them at DreamHack, I would still give Energy a slight advantage because they're still, you know, getting involved with Turbo Pulsar. So that's the only thing I worry about with G2 is when that offense isn't clicking, then they give up those open nets. Kind of saw that versus the Peeps, where they gave up a ton of goals versus the Peeps. So if that happens, I could see them drop into one of the lesser teams, but I do think they will be fine. And I don't think the big 3 era is coming to a close anytime soon. Yeah. So this is what I got for NA. So you can yell at me for that. But I do think the G2 6-1 curse will finally end here, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing. Like, I would rather them go 5-2 the way they're playing than go 6-1 how they played last league play. Like, I would prefer that because I think it's a better chance to win the World Championship by playing how they're playing now, which obviously they changed to go into the World Championship, and they played extremely well there. But here's what I got. Energy with the undefeated season, C9, G2 tie. C9 gets the tiebreaker at 5-2 and 5-2. Peeps 4-3, and then Rogue, Space Station, and Ghost, a 3-way tie for 5th, 6th, 7th. Giving it to Rogue, followed by Space Station, then Ghost. That could go any which way, obviously. And then Birds and the Bees, I have them at 1-6. I still think that they're going to be competitive. I don't think it would be a huge surprise if they finish top 6, just because they have results. The problem is we just haven't seen them at the big events, right? We haven't seen them at the DreamHacks. So the nerves could get to them. Like, we saw them at what was it? Not DreamHack Leipzig, the one in the middle. DreamHack Dallas. We saw a couple of the boys there, but I could see the nerves getting to them a little bit. The first week is nice, though, for them because they play G2, Birds and the Bees. So even if you have those week 1 nerves, it's not that bad for your first 2 games even because you're playing G2 and you're playing Energy, 2 teams that are expected to be at the top. So if you lose to them, again, not a huge deal. You can bounce back from that. They actually play the big 3 out of their first 4 games, and then they get an easier schedule later. So it could be a good, like, warm-up to get into it, and then say they have a big week 5, they play Ghost in week 5, or they play Peeps in week 4. It's possible that they come out of it. But here's what I got for my predictions. A lot of it's guesswork. We haven't seen a lot of these teams that much except for at that Astro tournament, but this is what I'm going with. Moving on. What is your favorite name from any person you have faced? I don't know, but probably my favorite name in, like, RLCS / Rival Series right now is probably Joe Freshness because that name is fantastic. So I'll go with that. All right. League play predictions for Europe. Oh boy. I don't even know where to start here. I haven't even thought about Europe, like, at all of, like, what am I going to place anyone. So let's see how this goes. All right, we'll start at number 8, and we'll work our way up. Gonna go Veloce. We'll go 1-6. I don't think there'll be an 0-7 team this time. Like, again, I think they're very similar to Birds, where I'm not sure what to expect from them. They can easily, I think, they have a better chance than Birds, in my opinion, to finish top 6, but I'm still gonna put them at 1-6 down at the bottom there at number 7. After that, oh boy. After that, I think I have FC Barcelona. If you saw my rankings, I didn't give my player rankings. I didn't give Barcelona all that much hype. So I think last season, week 4 and 5, or weeks 3, 4, and 5, like Alpha saved that team and got them a top 2 spot. I worry that they're gonna kind of struggle here without him. I'm gonna also put them at 1 and 6. I think they're gonna have a pretty poor season. Personally, we've only seen them at one event though, so obviously after a month's worth of practice, we'll see how they fare. But I don't see them doing too much here. I'm gonna put them at 1 and 6 as well. Number 6. Man, this is tough. Number 6. I guess TSM. Yeah, TSM would probably make sense here. TSM, we're going to put them at 2 and 5. TSM, they need to figure out offense. It's been 4 seasons since Remco won the World Championship in Season 3. Season 4, Season 5, Season 6, Season 7. They have not scored over 2 goals per game. They were either last or second to last in 3 of those seasons for goals per game and shooting percentage. They need to find offense. And I get it. You pick up Alpha. Fantastic talent. One of the best players in the world. But you cannot just let Alpha be like, Alpha, please just score for us. Please. Like, they need other people up there. We'll see if Metanoris moves up with him. Metanoris had a great season last season where he was playing an offensive role and doing all these things. And then the interview at DreamHack killed me where he's like, yeah, I can play support now for Alpha again. I'm like, no, get some more offense, more offensive opportunities, more passing on the offensive side of the field. We haven't seen it from TSM. Like, I thought on paper that they were going to look like a top 4 team, and DreamHack really, really soured me on them. But obviously, it was their first event. They have plenty of time to practice. But I'm going to put them 6th anyway. And I hope they change my mind. I hope they look better than they did at DreamHack, but I'm going to put them at 2 and 5. And I think they'll still make playoffs at least. And then who knows? Maybe if they start clicking late, you can make a run like Rogue did last season. But that's where I'm putting TSM. Now we get into the thick of things here. I'm trying to see if how far up I want to put complexity. I like complexity. Like, I don't think they're necessarily the most talented team most of the time, but I do think that they are a huge dark horse that can make some waves coming into the season. But I think I'm going to put them here. They just had a bad dream hack, and that was after all that roster rumors and going around that Flakes wanted to leave or kick Greasy and all that. So I don't know how much that has soured this team. I'm hoping that they bounce back from that, and they're still practicing the same amount, and their scrims are still going well, but I'm just not sure. So we're going to put complexity here. We'll put them at 3 and 4, but I think they can make some noise this season for sure. Then I'm going to put Mouse Sports in number 4. They look great at all the dream hacks. They are winning their games. I think the one thing they have to be careful about is their defense. On the side of when Cooks here is not the third man back or not playing defense, I think they have to worry a little bit. And if they fix that, I think they'll be just fine. I'll put them at 4 and 3. A very competitive squad, and I think they're going to do pretty well this season. And yeah, I'm really excited about this team because it's completely different from last season where I'm like, man, Mouse, what are you doing? You pick up a lot, you have terrible results, and you still keep them. This season, I love it because they pick up a lot, they have good results, but there were still rumors going on that they were trying out other players just in case because they wanted the best possible team. And that I love. And obviously, they had great results. So, Mouse Sports, I'm behind you 100%. I was not behind you at all last season. And honestly, it looked like I was right because they didn't play all that well. But this season, Mouse, I want to see the comeback. I want to see that comeback story for a lot. I want to see him back at the World Championship. So I got Mouse going 4 and 3. Next up, I think I have probably, I'm going to go a little bit wild here. And maybe you can call me biased because I usually favor Dignitas pretty well here. But I'm going to go Reciprocity here at number 3. We'll put them at, what do I need here? Let's see, -5, -10, -13, -14. We're at 13 left, so I'm gonna go 4 and 3 for Reciprocity. I think this season like they look good in the offseason, but to be fair, the two tournaments where they made the grand finals, I think, were the two least important tournaments we've had all year. One was 2 weeks after the World Championship. A lot of teams already in vacation mode, starting to practice, or not practicing, or like Fireburner's leaving, but they're not even practicing with him, and yada, yada, yada. Some teams took it more seriously than others, and I think Reciprocity was one of those teams, and that is fantastic. Shawsett played out of his mind to win that dream hack. And then Beyond the Summit, it's Beyond the Summit. They're having a little bit more fun. They make it to the grand finals, which, again, great results, and you can only do what you can with the tournaments that are in front of you, right? But I worry that if Shawsett gets shut down, that they could struggle at times, and I think it won't be as dominant of a season than we think for Reciprocity. And I think it could have some ups and downs. I'm going 4-3. I'm not completely sold on top two for anyone here in Europe, but I'm going to put Rec at 4-3. I'm going to put Dignitas up here at 5-2, I guess. We might have to change a couple of these stand-ins here. I might move TSM up to a 3-4 as well. Dig, like, I think they're going to get stronger and stronger throughout the season. Like, I feel like Astral is a top talent. He's been looking really strong in solo plays. But the thing that is different between Dig and TSM is that they also play offense with Astral. They will set him up for plays, they will set him up for passes, or they'll set up one another, Violent Panda plus Yukio. The only thing I worry about is if they lose a game and Astral then, like a lot of people have talked about, his mentality is not really there, but I think that's going to grow throughout the season with Dignitas, and I think they've probably been working on that throughout this whole offseason. So we'll see if losses hurt them at all with him, but if you just don't lose, then you don't have to worry about that, right? So I'm putting them 5-2. I think they have a decent shot at having a good season. Yeah, they're a little bit of my underdog pick to make top two, obviously, but I'm going to go 5-2 for Dick. And then Vitality, I don't think anyone's going undefeated in Europe this season. I think that's mostly because Vitality has looked very shaky, where they look up and down a lot throughout this offseason. Vitality is still a very, very strong team, and I'm going to put them at 6-1. And obviously we know the 3 world-class players, it's just when they click. And I worry about the Fairy Peak position. Like last season, I felt like it was played perfectly. The third man role in support, only 2 shots per game, but still top 5 in goals plus assists. But when we saw them versus the Peeps, a lot of goals just kind of leaked by that third line. So we'll see what Vitality does. I expect them to still do pretty well. They're probably my one team that I'm pretty confident in that would probably get a top 2, but it would not surprise me if they fell out into like a top 4. Say they went to bottom 2, that would surprise me. That's probably the only thing that would surprise me from Vitality, but I could see them finishing like 4th and just having an okay season. But I do expect them to be at the World Championship either way. Now let's see. I probably have to update some of these here. We have 11, 15, 19, 22, 24, 25, 26. Yeah, so I have to update 2 of these results here. So I'm going to move up TSM to a 3-4, and we're going to move Barca up to a 2-5 to just make it a little bit more condensed here, and I think that makes sense. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense right there. But I think, like, obviously Europe, it's anyone's game. It always is. And I think NA, people keep saying it's anyone's game now this season. I just can't buy it anymore, man. I need to see it before I believe it at this point. It's the big 3. It's always the big 3. And it's, like, honestly, frankly, kind of embarrassing for NA that it's always been the big 3 for this long. Like, come on, NA. Someone step up. Someone do it. And finally, we saw that the Peeps could do it at a major. Now let's just see it in the RLCS. But here's my predictions for NA and Europe for league play. Now you don't have to watch for 5 weeks. You already know what's going to happen. But just come and see me anyway. Come and watch the desk so you can see all of my beautiful bullshit. But there we go. That is my league play in the books. There it is. Now everyone in Twitch chat, if you're done yelling at me, say bye to YouTube for this video. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.